Hey, what's up? It's another episode of Watch Your Strappin. These aren't watch reviews, they're just a quick wristwatch check with a particular strap pairing just to show it off. Otherwise, I would also consider these uh, extended reviews if I have a review of a watch, which I believe I do have of this one. It's been a while. Actually, also consider these like ongoing user experience videos just to share my thoughts as I go along with on the journey with a particular watch. This is the Heuer Aquaracer Solargraph in titanium. Really good watch. It is kind of pricey, I'm not gonna lie, but it's actually a really good watch for my 7-inch wrist at 40 millimeters. This actually fits really nicely. It just doesn't feel like it overhangs a bit. It actually holds nice and fairly close and tight to my wrists without too many unsightly gaps. I mean, my wrist size is rather slender, somewhat rounded in some areas, like especially back here by the the wrist knuckle, if you want to say it, which is right about here. It tends to kind of get a little shallow, and that can be kind of ugly and problematic in some certain watches where the just the lug kind of overhangs weird. But yeah, this has always been really nice fitting. Titanium is a very thermally, I think, neutral material. Like, it doesn't get too hot or cold really. It just acclimates to whatever's pretty much in contact with fairly quick. So it's not going to be like really cold on wrist for a while, or it doesn't even get too hot for very long either, which adds to the comfort factor. And this is grade 2 titanium, so I guess it's not the fancier grade 5, but honestly, I don't see a huge difference myself, other than I do find that grade 5 tends to be even darker, it seems, at least. The only other one I've had that has watched this titanium that's grade 5 was the Echo Nutra Ribbonera. Really cool watch and nice matte finish with some mix of high polished edging, but yeah, I didn't keep that one. I'll talk about that some other day, but I might consider another one in a different dial color. But yeah, I think this is really nice with that gray sunburst dial. That some might call it a teak textured, like the deck of one of those old wooden boats or something, like cruise or sailing boats. Otherwise, it's just a nice vertical, clean texture. I actually prefer this to the newer wave dial myself. I find that a little too organic. It's something that I generally don't like in my watches, for it to look too, I don't know, organic, for lack of a better word. Too many curves and things that aren't like clean and linear, or hard kind of curves or shapes or lines. But that's me. Which this has a lot of nice ones. It's what's a dodecagon, 12-sided bezel, which it's a design they've done actually in the past, and it carries through. I think, is it the 2000 series, or 12 or 1600 from the past? I can't remember, but it is actually something that's carried over from one of the, I guess, original designs. I got this on a strap habit, no, not strap habit, sorry, a strap Tailor. I want to say it's called AquaFlex. I forgot the name. There's so many brands that make something like this. It's basically, like you can see closely, it's like a nice sailcloth texture. So you get that sailcloth look, but then unlike sailcloth, at least most of them, this is 100% waterproof and resistant. Proof basically because it's completely made out of FKM rubber, and so which is better for me. I can never trust the most sailcloths, even Artem, especially just paying over two, maybe something, depends how it's outfitted, maybe even closer to $300 on something like that, with all the fancy clasps and stuff. They say it's water resistant, but to some degree, I don't think that it's necessarily 100%, because I don't know. I think the lining or what's inside the strap is a little bit questionable, and I've heard people say that, yeah, they've washed it and stuff, and over time it actually does seem to deteriorate. So they do offer something similar to like this, where it's all rubber and gives you that look, so you don't have to worry about, you can get that sailcloth look without worrying about any kind of water damage at all, which is great. And this is in this kind of drab green color, which I have on my Blancpain Swatch 50 Fathom Scuba. And that one, because that one's green, the green abyss one, and that looked really good. That's 22, and they actually sent me this by mistake, 20 millimeters, and then I explained it to them, and they basically let me keep this one, and they sent me the right one at 22, which was good. And this is nice. I like the point class. Keeps the, you get it sized, and it keeps the loose end underneath, so it's a nice clean look, and it just feels just more luxurious because you just hit those dual buttons and it just undone, releases nice and cleanly, and there's no fuss about it, and then it snaps closed pretty nicely, and it's a nice tactile experience, and it looks good. I think the other one has switched the hardware because they don't offer it in black, which there's no silver on my Green Abyss, and also I got a replacement from, I believe it was from Strap Habit. A lot of these brands carry a lot of the same make, they just make slight tweaks, and that one had like a more rounded clasp, which suited the blank pun 50 fathom style, more rounded. But since this is Tag Heuer, and then of course this design has a bit more sharper angles, I think it was appropriate to keep it on, especially since it's silver. It's not titanium, but close enough. It has this angled, pointed clasp. All right, got slightly interrupted there, so continuing. So yeah, I think this is a good match with this. It looks good from a distance. And this was kind of an unexpected pairing. I just had this extra strap and I didn't really have anything to pair it with, but then I started thinking about it. You know what? The dull tone of the titanium, really toned down, it might actually work because this green is actually pretty dull and kind of toned down too. It's very muted. And generally anyways, these army military kind of colors like khaki, gray, and olive or some sort of green drab generally work on a lot of things. Actually, it's more versatile than some might think. And I decided why not pair it? I got the strap and I got the watch, and let's just try something different. And I didn't think, because there's nothing really green on this watch, but for some reason I feel it's kind of nice. It just adds like a shift in color to the overall palette, because this is very, besides the polar blue that's on the dial with the hands and some of the accents on the dial, it's pretty monochromatic and really toned down, but this just adds a little bit of color. And in my head I'm thinking that because the polar blue, it has a slight hint of green in it, it very loosely ties into the green that's in the strap, but overall I think it's kind of cool. Gives it a almost military field aesthetic to it, even though you got this radiant dial and a bright blue handset. But I don't know, it just looks cool and it works, I think. What do you think? Anyways, just wanted to share my thoughts on this pairing. Kind of works nicely. It's comfortable, and I don't have to worry about it ever getting wet, too wet, because it's completely FKM rubber. It's pretty pliable. I recommend it. It's a little bit on the pricier side, but I think the overall look and feel and execution is pretty good for the price. I've seen some that come close, and also I can't tell the difference, and they cost maybe even double or more the price, as in like Deluxe has some that are kind of pricey as well. I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm just saying they're pricey, as well as of course Artem. Their HydroFlex is really quite pricey, but maybe it's worth it. But I don't know. I'd have to see one and compare it directly. But from what I can tell, at least visually, and from what videos I've seen, I can't imagine it's that big of a difference. I mean, this seems pretty good for what you get for maybe just under 100 or so. Anyways, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your watches.